something amazing has just happened. In early October 2014, the number of mobile devices in our hands was equal to the number of people on the planet. Both the official global mobile device counter and the world population counter caught up with each other. This means that at that moment, there was exactly one mobile device in use in the world for every human being alive.
On the continuum of adoption, there aren't going to be any other points like this. There's only one point in time when we're going to have this crossover between the number of mobile devices that are active and the number of human beings. So to me, it's a clarion call. It's a punctuation point. It's a reason just to, I think, celebrate and recognize how far we've come in the last 30 years, and also how far we need to go.
You see, beneath these numbers, there is a huge disparity, one that needs to change. More than half the world's population is still waiting for mobile connectivity. Being connected unlocks powerful resources for life-saving information on health, agriculture, and education. It also means having a voice in the greater global community. It might be easy to overlook, but mobile access has a significant impact on the economy and quality of life. World Bank research says for every 10% increase in internet access, developing nations add nearly 1.4% to their GDP. Deloitte research says digital inclusion will generate $2.2 trillion in additional GDP and more than 140 million new jobs. It will also lift 160 million people out of poverty and reduce child mortality rates by 250,000. We've come a long way in the past 30 years. In the early 80s, when one of the pioneers of mobile networking was just getting started, they approached financial engineer Kevin Kimberlin.
Their big problem was it was a small company, nobody had been paid, 5 people, startup, and they had literally ambitions to change the world.
Though you might not know the name, you are benefiting from their creation every day. Millicom, up against industry giants AT&T and Motorola, was the only startup to earn an FCC license to prove the viability of cellular. Kimberlin structured its first private financing, which was the impetus for its joint venture called Vodafone.
His support then generated a tremendous amount of investment activity that allowed us to grow and create basically the capital for Millicom.
Named after Millicom's efforts to develop the voice and data smartphone, Vodafone grew into the world's largest communications firm. Today, Millicom's joint ventures and cellular operators serve more than 10% of the human race.
No one could conceive at that time of the impact of cellular telephony. Only 8% of the people in the world in 1982 had a phone. Any phone. Of course, these were all landline phones. But to me, the cellular telephone was the phone for the rest of the world.
Leonard Gubar, attorney and former director of Millicom, recalled the deal that started it all.
1982, there was no money around. He was trying to raise money for the scheme to get into cellular with the firm license, etc., etc. That's where you involved.
Now, Millicom is partnering with Facebook's nonprofit, Internet.org, to bring greater mobile access to the people of Paraguay. Spencer Trask applauds their efforts to connect the unconnected.
This is how you're going to pull people out of poverty. Give them access to the modern world. We take it for granted, but if you give a cell phone with mobile access to data to a poor little Indian girl in her village, it's a life-changing event.
To read the full Millicom story, please go to spencertrask.com. To learn more about the effort for change happening right now, go to internet.org.